Disappointing night, frustrating night, aggravated night, night. Final score: Detroit City 0, El Paso Locomotive 0. Both teams share the points tonight down in El Paso Southwest University Park. Before we get to the big call of the match, let's go over the stats and break it down that way. I mean, really, there wasn't much to talk about as far as the stat lines go in that one, except that Detroit City did not have more possession. El Paso did at 59% to 41. Both teams took 10 shots on goal, but Detroit had more on target, 4-2 in that category. A lot of the play was done in the midfield. That's pretty much how El Paso generated its possession throughout the match. Another big stat of this thing was the fouls committed. Detroit City had 18 fouls committed compared to 5 for El Paso. So, first thing you see that the referees were kind of on Detroit City's case tonight. We'll elaborate more in a little bit. And that's about it there. Offsides were even, corners were even tonight. As far as the discipline is concerned here, let's just say here, James Murphy got a yellow in the 22nd minute of play early on. They really didn't pass out the cards or the referee, the head official did not pass out the cards that much. Alex Villanueva in the 83rd minute got a yellow, and then 2 minutes later, Miles Lyons got a yellow for El Paso. So the discipline in the disciplinary form, the call, the cards weren't out there. However, though, you look at that foul total in the stats and makes you wonder how much Detroit City got away with it and not earn cards for the play there. So, but like I said, a frustrating night, aggravating night. Let's go to the 51st minute of play. I don't have highlights for you on that because, first off, when I tried to get the highlight package that the USL usually gives, and I was going to show it to you on the screen and all that stuff, that minute didn't exist to them. I'll tell you about it though. Alex Villanueva passed the ball to Ben Morris, who put it into the back of the net he thought would give Detroit City a 1-0 advantage in the 51st minute. However, the assistant referee from 40 yards out thought that the ball crossed the touchline before Villanueva was to get the ball. So he comes down to the end of the corner, raises the flag up, signaling a goal kick for El Paso. And the highlights that they showed, and I was watching the match on CBSDetroit.com. That was obviously the feed that you would see on Channel 50 as well if you were watching it locally. Neil Rule and Ross Davenport broke down the call, and they thought, yeah, they screwed up. Ball never crossed the touchline. Villanueva played it cleanly, and Villanueva was over the touchline. Ball didn't cross the touchline. He played it before it hit the touchline. So an obvious missed call by the assistant referee. And like I said, he was 40 yards from the play before he came down to the corner to raise his flag, and called it a goal kick at that point. So, I'll tell you this much: USL does not have goal line technology or VAR technology like, say, MLS does, or the Premier League does, or any other major league in Europe. Even the championship, I think the championship in England, I think they might have VAR technology. If not, drop in the comments, and if they don't have it, I could be wrong on that. I'm thinking that they do, but most major leagues you know in in the world use the VAR technology. Now I understand. Now USL does not. They're the second division league, as we know, but the it is a money thing because you have to have certain cameras on the certain cameras and at each venue to have the goal line technology, and to have technology where can tell if a goal has gotten if a play should be reviewed, say like a handball, or what we had tonight in El Paso. It costs money to do that. And, you know, obviously the USL falls under the category, where, they're doing well, mind you, they're doing well. They're not doing MLS well. So where you cannot afford the technology to do so in the league. But clearly a case could be made for VAR with a call like that tonight. And initially they thought, both Ross and, Neil thought at the time that there could have been an offsides call that would have called it back, but it wasn't an offsides call. It was just blatant. It was just a blatant missed call there. They thought the ball was going to go over the touchline, or the ball went over the touchline, where obviously it clearly didn't. And however, that could have cost Detroit City the game. That could have cost Detroit City the 3 points. That missed call, but there were other chances that Detroit City had tonight that maybe should have went in the back of net. Connor Rutz had a couple chances. He missed one earlier in the first half of play, where ball was passed to him. Could have. I think it was Mensah that passed that. Yeah, I think it was Devin Amomensah. Devin Amomensah passed to him. Could have done it one touch right into the back of the net. He decided to dribble it and then lost control of it. Chance failed. Later on in the match, another play, Villanueva 2, Rutz, and as it turned out, Villanueva or Rutz got tangled up with the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper ended up injured, and of course both players ended up, or Rutz ended up being subbed off after that. But two missed opportunities there. Lejope. Well, the guy likes to shoot from outside the box. I get that. One of them was heading to the Johnson Space Center. And then there was another kick that he had later on in the match that went up into the concourse. And Dan Vaughn, if you are familiar with him, he is the host of Nights and does plenty of pieces for Protagonist Soccer. Said he nearly killed somebody on the concourse with the ball that he kicked into the stands. I tweeted him back, or retweeted his tweet saying, the old Bob Uecker line, just a bit outside, because it was a chance on net. He had a third one that, and that was the only one that I can see coming out from the 18 that went on the ground, went right straight to the keeper. And yeah, it's like it wasn't like Detroit City did not have their chances tonight. Besides, the missed opportunity by Ben Morris there. So, but as the last game has gone off, there was a lot of stuff going on in the standings tonight. A lot of it surrounding Detroit City. Let's break it down for you as far as the final numbers, or not the final number, the final scores tonight. First off, let's start off with Hartford Athletic and Indy 11 over at Trinity Health Stadium tonight. Same as Detroit City and El Paso, 0-0 draw. in Hartford tonight. So good news there for Detroit City. Both teams grabbed a point in that matchup. So, but it didn't do anything to affect the standings. We'll go over the standings in a little after we go through the scores here. Over in Pittsburgh tonight, the team that was closely chasing them at the time was Rhode Island FC. Rhode Island ended up losing in Pittsburgh at Highmark tonight by a score of 2-0. Burton Yakison in the 5th minute of stoppage time in the first half put Pittsburgh in the lead. And then 5 minutes later into the second half, 50th minute, Bradley Sample on an assist by Danny Rivera put Pittsburgh up 2-0, and that's where they would stay down in Pittsburgh tonight. Battle between two teams near the top of the table in their respective divisions down at Patriots Point tonight. Nick Marcanic got now is equalized the all-time single-season mark for goals scored with his 25th goal of the year, that coming in the 50th minute of play. Yakaza would score the game winner in the 87th minute of play. Marcanic's goal came in, after Sanchez for Sacramento scored the opener in the 18th minute of play. Charleston with the 2-1 victory against Sacramento Republic. North Carolina destroyed the Oakland Roots tonight down in Cary, North Carolina. Let's go over the goal scorers. 5 goals. Rodrigo da Costa kicked things off in the 6th minute of play. Then Rafael Metzagan in the 8th minute of play put Carolina up 2-0. Paco Craig got one in the 32nd minute of play. Then Evan Conway in the 44th minute. Ezra Armstrong closed out the scoring in the 63rd minute of play. 5-0 the final down in Cary, North Carolina. Wild one over in Colorado Springs tonight. Colorado's goals came in the 28th, the 53rd, the 42nd, and the 48th minute of play. It was Hanya in the with the first 2 goals. McGee got the one in the 42nd, and Dillon in the 48th minute. However, Leo Fernandez got a goal in the 75th minute and Rivera in the 79th minute to put things a little bit closer. Kind of like what but FC Tulsa did it a little bit late to avoid the shutout last week in Tulsa. And Colorado Springs has scored 8 goals in their last 2 matches. So they're on a fire. They're on fire right now. That's all you can say. So a hot team to watch out for. Thankfully, we played them the first game of the year. So yeah, they're a tough team to watch right there. And then the last game of the night just ended. San Antonio, thanks to Luis Solniak's goal in the 57th minute on a penalty kick, gives them the victory over Monterey Bay by a score of 1-0. And as I mentioned, the USL Championship standings, little movement there. Thanks to the 2-0 victory by Pittsburgh over Rhode Island, Pittsburgh now moves into the 7th spot in the Eastern Conference. They are 4 points behind us right there. We have 1 game in hand, though. Indy 11 now moves into the 5th spot. They have 1 game in hand with us. So, and then Rhode Island dropped down to the 6th spot thanks to goal differential tonight, and dropping the 2 goals against Pittsburgh. So, I think that may have been a head-to-head thing. I don't know where that says there, but as I mentioned, yeah, Rhode Island dropped the spot. They were in the fifth spot or after last week's play. Birmingham now sits in eighth spot. Loudoun United drops down after I believe their loss last night to Phoenix Rising. They dropped down to the ninth spot in the Eastern Conference. Let's see, North Carolina, even with their win tonight, they still sit in 10th with 33 points. And Hartford Athletic, with their draw, moved up to 30 points. Miami FC, as you know, eliminated from playoff competition at this time, or for this season. So, but yeah, what should have been, what could have been, wasn't tonight. And unfortunately for Detroit City, no 3 points tonight. However, they do get the 1 point, and it's the next matchup is going to be a tough one. It's going to be against New Mexico United. They just beat Miami FC. New Mexico right now sitting still on top. So the next couple weeks, we're going to be facing the top dogs at home. New Mexico United next Saturday, 7 o'clock. And then the following Sunday, Louisville City, 3 o'clock kickoff, both at Keyworth Stadium. So two pivotal matchups there. And then after that for us, we go back on the road. Two tough, a road game over in Monterey Bay against the Monterey Bay team who's battling for playoff position, and then come back east to take on the Charleston Battery. So, coast to coast, back to back coast to coast trip. Go from one coast to another. And then Indy 11 come here, Miami FC, and then San Antonio to close out the campaign. So plenty of soccer to be played. But key here is Detroit City's got to get the ball into the back of the net. You can't win if you don't score. So, plain and simple. So they got to figure out some way, somehow, to get balls into the back of the net. And maybe a 1-0 game, maybe a 2-0 game, whatever it is, they got to put the ball in the back of the net if you're going to do anything, get those points. And now the first thing to do is you got to get the hardest thing to do is get those points against two clubs that have got it together right now in USL Championship, that being New Mexico United and, of course, Louisville City. So until next week, from the Key, keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the galaxy.